The story opens in 2017 with the wedding of Ki-dae and Yoon-soo, who go on to have a daughter named Sop. The narrative then jumps forward 5 years to 2022, where Ki-dae is found in his studio, fatally stabbed in the neck. Yoon-soo attempts to staunch the bleeding while calling emergency services, but her husband does not survive, and his funeral is held shortly after. A few days later, Detective Ryu brings Yoon-soo in for questioning. She explains that both she and Ki-dae grew up as orphans and mentions that on the day of the murder she saw someone dressed in a black hoodie leaving the studio. She adds that she and Ki-dae had planned a date that night to try for another baby and notes that a student named Oh Seo-won had been at the studio earlier. Detective Ryu becomes suspicious after spotting a bruise on Yoon-soo's wrist, while other officers find her surprisingly cheerful demeanor odd for a grieving widow. After a long interrogation, the authorities bring in Baek Dong-hoon, a former police officer turned prosecutor known for his unique methods. He reviews the case files, noting that Ki-dae was killed with a carving knife and that etching solution was poured over the scene to destroy evidence, yet the knife itself was left clean. To everyone's surprise, Dong-hoon releases Yoon-soo but informs Detective Ryu that he wants to take over the investigation. He begins following Yoon-soo and watches as she photographs her late husband's belongings to sell online that very night, behavior that seems incredibly cold given the circumstances. The next day, Dong-hoon learns from Detective Ryu that Yoon-soo tried to enter the sealed studio to retrieve something, but was denied access. While searching Yoon-soo's empty classroom, Dong-hoon discovers a receipt for etching solution. The student, Oh Seo-won, is taken into custody and accused of having an affair with Ki-dae. She insists she left the studio at 5 o'clock in a taxi. Dong-hoon allows Yoon-soo to confront the student, observing closely as Yoon-soo asks Seo-won about the affair. Dong-hoon returns to the crime scene to study it, troubled by the fact that the etching solution did not touch the knife. He collects all the other carving knives in the studio and sends them to forensics. Once the police locate the taxi driver and confirm Seo-won's alibi, Yoon-soo becomes the only remaining suspect and is arrested. That night, Dong-hoon watches home videos found on Yoon-soo's USB drive before interrogating her about the murder. Yoon-soo maintains that she did not know about any relationship between Seo-won and Ki-dae. A sequence then plays out showing Yoon-soo entering the studio. Seeing clear signs of the affair like condom wrappers, angry she grabs a wine bottle and hit him in the head, and stabbing him with the carving knife, though it is unclear if this is a true flashback or Dong-hoon's theory. Dong-hoon produces the actual murder weapon, accusing Yoon-soo of swapping the knives to frame Seo-won and trying to re-enter the studio to hide the real knife. He also reveals records from the orphanage where she grew up, which detail an incident where she pushed a friend down the stairs out of jealousy. He contrasts this violent history with a letter from her current students praising her kindness, asking her which version is the real Yoon-soo. Despite her defenses, Yoon-soo is sent to prison. Meanwhile, Dong-hoon's superior instructs him to let the media focus on the schoolteacher's case to distract the public from a corruption scandal involving high-ranking officials. A journalist named Hong broadcasts the private home videos, highlighting moments where Yoon-soo jokingly threatened to kill her husband. A flashback then reveals Yoon-soo's perspective. She was on the phone with Ki-dae, heard Seo-won's voice, and told him to send the student away so they could be alone. She bought a bottle of wine and drove to the studio, where she saw a hooded figure fleeing before entering to find her husband dead in a pool of blood. Elsewhere, inside a luxurious glass house, a woman named Mo Yoon watches the news report about Yoon-soo's life sentence. Surrounded by 2 dead bodies, Mo Yoon smiles as she watches Yoon-soo plead her innocence on the screen. Yoon-soo's lawyer advises her that admitting to the crime and claiming self-defense would likely result in a lighter sentence. A video of the crime reenactment is shown, where Yoon-soo stops midway to protest that she is innocent. Despite her lawyer's advice, Yoon-soo maintains her innocence during the trial, but the court finds her guilty and sentences her to life in prison. Meanwhile, police raid the luxurious glass house where Mo Yoon is waiting and arrest her. At the station, she explains that she worked as a dental assistant for the couple who lived there, claiming they were entitled and treated her like a servant. She casually mentions that she always carries poison and a surgical scalpel in her bag. Detective Ryu notices she has no fingerprints, which she attributes to a chemical accident at her clinic. A psychiatrist is brought in to interview her and notes that she seems fascinated and in awe while describing the couple's deaths. Back in prison, Yoon-soo receives a visit from her friend, Moon-jun, who has been caring for Sop. Moon-jun explains that the scandal is negatively affecting her own son, so she has decided to put Sop up for adoption. Devastated by this news, Yoon-soo returns to her cell and sobs uncontrollably. Her crying annoys another inmate named Wal-soon, leading to a physical fight between them. By the time Mo-yoon arrives at the facility, she sees Yoon-soo being taken to the infirmary. However, the injury is not from the fight. Yoon-soo had intentionally smashed her own head against the wall. The doctor treats her and urges her to stay alive for the sake of her daughter. In her own cell, one of Mo-yoon's roommates begins beating her for being disrespectful. Mo-yoon snaps a pencil and holds the sharp point against the woman's carotid artery, calmly explaining how easily she could kill her. As punishment, she is sent to solitary confinement, where she panics upon seeing a spider web, claiming to have severe arachnophobia. The guard moves her to a different cell to calm her down. However, the panic was a ruse. Mo-yoon simply wanted to be placed in the cell next to Yoon-soo. Through the wall, Mo-yoon introduces herself as a murderer and a witch, offering a deal. She will confess to killing Ki-dae if Yoon-soo agrees to help her. A week later, Yoon-soo is released from solitary and reads newspapers describing Mo-yoon as a psychopath. A guard then informs Yoon-soo that her lawyer has dropped her case, leaving her to find new representation. Mo-yoon meets with her lawyer and demands a jury trial. The request is granted and attracts significant public attention. During the trial, when given permission to speak, Mo-yoon shocks everyone by confessing to an additional murder, that of Ki-dae. The courtroom erupts in chaos, and the news quickly reaches Yoon-soo and her cellmates. When Mo-yoon returns to the prison, Yoon-soo stares at her, trying to compare her face to the hooded figure she saw leaving the studio, wondering if she is truly the killer. Yoon-soo and Mo-yoon whispering to each other through a small crack in the wall separating their cells. Mo-yoon promises to demand a jury trial and confess to killing Ki-dae, but she insists on getting something in exchange, though the specific condition remains a secret for now. As time passes, Mo-yoon's trial is postponed, causing the public to grow skeptical about the prosecution's decision to keep Yoon-soo behind bars. Prosecutor Dong-hoon summons both women for questioning. During the bus ride to the station, Yoon-soo suddenly attacks Mo-yoon. It is later revealed that this physical altercation was actually a pre-planned signal to let Mo-yoon know that Yoon-soo has accepted her deal. Once they arrive, Yoon-soo exercises her right to remain silent until her lawyer arrives. In contrast, Mo-yoon cooperates fully with Dong-hoon, answering every question regarding Ki-dae's murder with precision. She even sketches an accurate layout of the studio where he died. However, Dong-hoon finds her memory suspicious. He tells his superior that it is strange for someone to remember such minute details from 5 months ago. He also notes that Mo-yoon has failed to provide a motive, which is usually the first thing killers want to discuss. Determined to find a link, Dong-hoon and his partner, Mr. Hwang, obtain a warrant to inspect the solitary confinement cells. Although they discover holes between other cells, they find nothing connecting Mo-yoon and Yoon-soo. A brief flashback reveals that Mo-yoon had cleverly used chewed rice to plug the crack and hide the evidence. Dong-hoon proceeds to search Yoon-soo's cell and orders a humiliating strip search of her and her roommates, but they come up empty-handed. Before leaving, he warns Yoon-soo against trusting Mo-yoon. Following Mo-yoon's specific instructions, Yoon-soo hires a relatively unknown lawyer named Jong-gu and instructs him to focus entirely on securing her release on bail. Next, Dong-hoon orders a polygraph test. Yoon-soo refuses to take it, but Mo-yoon agrees. To Dong-hoon's frustration, the machine indicates that she is telling the truth. Losing his temper, he grabs the microphone and demands to know why she did it. But Mo-yoon only laughs in response, rendering the results useless. Lawyer Jong-gu successfully manipulates the media narrative, portraying Yoon-soo as a wrongfully imprisoned mother. The strategy works, and Yoon-soo is granted bail. She is finally released and reunites with her daughter. As they drive away from the prison, the true nature of her agreement with Mo Yoon is finally disclosed. There is one specific person Mo Yoon intended to kill but failed to eliminate, and the price for her confession is that Yoon-soo must finish the job and kill that person. The prosecution holds a press conference to publicly announce their refusal to accept the court's decision to grant bail to Yoon-soo. Baek Dong-hoon faces severe backlash for the situation and offers to resign, but his superior rejects the resignation. Instead, he is ordered to lie low in a different department while continuing his investigation in secret. Meanwhile, Jong-gu drives Yoon-soo home, where she discovers her front gate covered in messages from supporters. Shortly after, a court official named Bae Sun-deok arrives to install surveillance cameras and fit Yoon-soo with an electronic ankle monitor. She lays out strict rules, including a ban on leaving a specific district and a curfew prohibiting her from leaving her house between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. After putting her daughter Sop to bed, Yoon-soo receives a visit from Moon-jun, who apologizes profusely for her past behavior, even inviting Yoon-soo to hit her. The two friends reconcile over taeokbyeoki and beer. Once Moon-jun leaves, Yoon-soo recalls the promise she made to Mo-eun and begins researching the dentist couple and their son. The next morning, Yoon-soo drops Sop off at the bus stop and goes to the grocery store, where she endures stares from strangers. While walking on the street, she notices someone taking photos of her. Later, she meets with Jong-gu, who informs her that her appeal is scheduled to take place in 3 weeks. Inside the prison, Mo Yoon asks a guard for some medicine and a newspaper, but instead of taking the pills, she hides them for later use. Back outside, Yoon-soo receives a visit from Dong-hoon, who has been transferred to his new department. They attempt to share a meal, but the atmosphere is uncomfortable, leading Yoon-soo to leave abruptly. Meanwhile, after 4 public defenders refuse to represent Mo Yoon, a renowned lawyer named Jin Young-in accepts her case. Known for defending the poor, Young-in gains Mo Yoon's trust. During their meeting, she writes a letter to Yoon-soo and asks him to deliver it. Yoon-soo visits the home of the dentist couple and spots their son outside, going so far as to rifle through their mailbox. The following day, Young-in meets with Jong-gu and Yoon-soo to hand over the letter. As Yoon-soo returns home, she notices someone taking pictures of her again. Once inside, she reads Mo Yoon's letter, which wishes her success in the upcoming trial. However, Yoon-soo recognizes the simple note as a veiled threat, reminding her that Mo Yoon will soon take the witness stand. Haunted by the feeling of being watched, Yoon-soo wakes up from a nightmare that night and sees movement outside her house. She spots a person in a hoodie sneaking up to her front door attempting to open it. Yoon-soo flips on the lights, causing the intruder to flee, and she immediately chases after them. As she runs, her ankle monitor begins beeping, alerting the police that she has violated her curfew. Closing in on the hooded figure, who looks increasingly like Mo Yoon, just as a police car comes around the corner. At the same time, a prison guard opens Mo Yoon's cell door only to find it empty. A police car arrives just as Yoon-soo is about to catch the person in the hoodie. The officers restrain Yoon-soo, allowing the suspect to escape while she struggles against the police. At the same time, the prison is thrown into chaos when the guards realize Mo Yoon is missing from her cell, and Baek Dong-hoon is informed of the situation. Jong-gu receives the news, picks up Sop, and meets Bae Sun-deok at the hospital where Yoon-soo has been admitted. The arresting officers attempt to charge Yoon-soo with obstruction of justice because she fought them, but Jong-gu argues that they were prejudiced and ignored her side of the story. With help from Jin Young-in, Jong-gu obtains CCTV footage showing the intruder in Yoon-soo's yard, proving she acted in self-defense. The police are forced to drop the charges. Yoon-soo leaves the hospital immediately to go home. On her way out, Dong-hoon stops her to ask if she knew about Mo Yoon's disappearance from prison. Yoon-soo refuses to answer and focuses on leaving. After she departs, it is revealed that Mo Yoon has been located in the prison infirmary. The official explanation is that a guard forgot to log her transfer, but the doctor on duty had been asleep and the security cameras were down due to a server error, suggesting Mo Yoon might have actually sneaked out. Back at home, Yoon-soo is tormented by the possibility that the hooded figure was Mo-yoon. She remembers the terms of their deal. She must commit the murder by the day of her appeal, or Mo-yoon will retract her confession. Inside the prison, Mo-yoon is moved to a shared cell, specifically Yoon-soo's old cell with Wal-sun and the other inmates. Meanwhile, Dong-hun reviews dashcam footage from the arrest and sees Yoon-soo screaming that the hooded figure killed her husband. He begins to wonder if she has been telling the truth all along. The search for the hooded suspect yields no results. Later, Yoon-soo receives a call from her late husband's university regarding an exhibition of his work. She visits his studio to collect a piece and finds a painting he made of her. While looking through photos on her phone, she spots Seo-won in the background of a picture. She tries calling the student, but the number is disconnected. When Yoon-soo visits Seo-won's home, she learns that the girl moved out a few days prior. Dong-hun visits Mo-yoon in prison hoping for answers, but she remains silent. Mo-yoon's trial begins shortly after, with Yoon-soo watching the proceedings on a screen from a separate room. During the opening statement, Mo-yoon looks directly into the camera and mouths the words, "There's not much time left. Don't try and get smart." Dong-hun notices this and demands the footage be reviewed. Mo-yoon openly admits what she said. The judge asks for an explanation regarding her comment, while the threat rings in Yoon-soo's ears. Mo-yoon explains to the judge that her earlier outburst was merely her talking to herself about suicidal thoughts. However, Jong-gu notices that Yoon-soo appears deeply unsettled by the incident. As Mo-yoon is being escorted out of the courtroom, an elderly man named Mr. Ko approaches her and coldly tells her to follow through with her words about ending her life. Mr. Ko is revealed to be the grandfather of Ko Si-hun, the son of the dentist couple Mo-yoon murdered. Later, Yoon-soo trails Mr. Ko as he drops his grandson off at school. Shortly after the grandfather leaves, Se-hun exits the school, hails a taxi, and returns home to play video games instead of attending class. He goes back to the school in the evening just in time to receive a stack of cash from another student before his grandfather picks him up. Yoon-soo observes this entire routine from a distance. Meanwhile, Jong-gu continues his search for proof of Yoon-soo's innocence. He and Jin Young-in visit the forensic laboratory, where a worker displays the shards from 2 wine bottles discovered at the crime scene. When the worker refuses to analyze them without official authorization, the 2 lawyers personally separate the glass pieces. Jong-gu is determined to discover if Ki-dae's blood is present on the specific bottle that Yoon-soo bought. During a meeting with Bae Sun-deok, Yoon-soo is informed that the court has overlooked her previous curfew violation. However, Sun-deok warns her that any further rule-breaking will result in her bail being revoked. Yoon-soo also discovers that her probation officer tracks her movements on a map, which includes the times she spent following Se-hun. On her way out, Yoon-soo ends up in an elevator with Se-hun, who is visiting the office regarding his parents' death. She follows him to the parking lot and reaches into her bag for something, but a car horn startles her, causing her to stop. She returns to Sun-deok's office and pretends to want to share a meal of tteokbokki. When Sun-deok steps out to get food, Yoon-soo quickly photographs information about Se-hun from the officer's laptop. Back at home, she researches Se-hun and discovers he was accused of selling illegal explicit videos. Inside the prison, the inmates are gathered in the auditorium for a movie. While Mo-yoon is in the restroom, a violent brawl erupts. She returns to find a group of inmates bullying a woman nicknamed Pudgy. The bullying goes too far, and Pudgy stops responding. Mo-yoon intervenes and begins hitting Pudgy's chest to revive her. However, a guard named Ms. Eom misinterprets the action as an attack and knocks Mo-yoon unconscious. When she wakes up, the doctor clarifies to the guards that Mo-yoon actually saved Pudgy's life. Later, Yoon-soo finds an impression left by a watch on a desk in her husband's studio. She shows it to Jong-gu, who asks Young-in to check if it matches Mo-yoon's watch. Mo-yoon refuses to hand over her watch, and shortly after, Yoon-soo receives text messages ordering her to stop investigating and focus on the task she agreed to. While discussing the case with her lawyers, Yoon-soo receives a call from her daughter's kindergarten teacher, reporting that Sop has gone missing during a field trip to a shopping center. Yoon-soo rushes to the scene and frantically searches until she sees Sop holding an adult's hand. The adult turns out to be Pudgy, who was recently released from prison. Pudgy returns the child along with a warning from Mo-eun. Although Jong-gu senses something suspicious about Pudgy's story, Yoon-soo insists on letting her leave. That night, Yoon-soo intentionally breaks her electronic ankle monitor and calls the probation office, claiming it was damaged during a bike accident. She then goes to Se-hun's house disguised as a gas inspector. He ignores her to play video games, allowing her to sneak up behind him. However, he senses her presence and recognizes her from the elevator encounter at the probation office. A struggle ensues, ending with Yoon-soo choking him until he passes out and then stabbing him with a knife. Someone photographing Se-hun's lifeless body before dragging it away. Meanwhile, Yoon-soo races home on her bicycle, crashing into a truck after running a red light in her desperate hurry. She must reach her house before Bae Sun-duke arrives to install her new electronic ankle bracelet. Fortunately, Sun-duke is still waiting when Yoon-soo finally opens the door. Yoon-soo lies, claiming she fell asleep in the bath. She explains that she broke the previous bracelet when she slipped and fell while going out to buy a light bulb. Although Sun-duke notices water near the back door and sees the house phone off the hook, she accepts the story and fits Yoon-soo with the new device. Once the official leaves, Yoon-soo immediately burns the clothes she was wearing that night. The following day, Mo-eun receives a letter in prison delivered by her lawyer, Jin Young-in. Inside is a photograph of Se-hun's dead body. Before Young-in can see the contents, Mo-eun tears the photo up and swallows the pieces. Upon returning to her cell, she is introduced to a new, young inmate named Hui-young. Elsewhere, Mr. Ko goes to the police station to report his grandson, Se-hun, missing. He shows the police a text message from Se-hun stating he is leaving and won't return, but Mr. Ko is convinced someone else wrote it. Detective Ryu and Dong-hun investigate and discover that Se-hun's phone signal is coming from out of town. Dong-hun tries to question Bae Sun-duke about Yoon-soo's recent activities, but she refuses to share information without proper protocol. A flashback reveals that Yoon-soo sent the text from Se-hun's phone before tossing the device into a passing truck. In the present, Yoon-soo drives past Se-hun's house. Inside, bloodstains suggest she has hidden his body in a freezer, but she is unaware that she left a few strands of her hair near the blood. Back in prison, the inmates watch news reports of Se-hun's disappearance. That night, Mo-eun takes all the pills she has been hoarding. As the drugs take effect and she becomes delirious, Hui-young whispers that she knew the dentist couple Mo-eun murdered and is happy they are dead. Mo-eun is rushed to the hospital as her condition worsens, triggering memories of a young girl named So-mong. In a final memory, Mo-eun sets fire to a car with So-mong inside, apologizing as it burns. Yoon-soo sees the news of Mo-eun's hospitalization and visits her disguised as a doctor. Fulfilling the final part of their deal, she describes to Mo-eun how she killed Se-hun. However, Mo-eun is suspicious and accuses Yoon-soo of lying, revealing that the photo she received in the mail looks different from the one Yoon-soo is showing her. The truth is finally revealed. Yoon-soo could not bring herself to stab Se-hun. Instead, she woke him up and convinced him to pose as if he were dead for the photos. Se-hun agreed to hide in the basement of the house, and Yoon-soo told him to give her a week to fix the situation. In the hospital room, Yoon-soo admits she couldn't kill him but promises to make him suffer for his crimes. Mo-eun tells her there is no need. The other photograph she received confirms that the boy is actually dead. Mr. Ko eventually searches the basement of his son's house and discovers his grandson's body inside the freezer. Yoon-soo speaks with Mo-eun at the hospital, unable to accept that Se-hun is truly dead. Driven by disbelief, she drives to his house and finds a large crowd gathering as his body is wheeled out on a stretcher. She spots Jong-gu in the crowd, but chooses to drive away immediately without speaking to him. Inside the house, Bae Dong-hun and Detective Ryu investigate the crime scene. Detective Ryu reveals to Dong-hun that Se-hun had been on trial 2 years prior, a case involving a victim and her father who both committed suicide. Yoon-soo returns home deeply shaken and asks Moon-jun to take care of her daughter Sop for a few days. Shortly after, the autopsy results are delivered to Dong-hoon and Detective Ryu, revealing that while Se-hoon had been strangled, the cause of death was actually the stab wound. Yoon-soo decides she needs to investigate Pudgy. As she is leaving her house, she is confronted by Jong-gu, who saw her at the hospital disguised in a doctor's coat and demands an explanation. Yoon-soo ignores his questions and leaves for Pujim Bakery, where Pudgy works. Waiting for a moment when Pudgy is on break, Yoon-soo threatens her with a taser and forcefully checks her phone. Finding nothing incriminating, she listens as Pudgy insists that Mo-eun is a good person who merely asked her to keep an eye on Yoon-soo. Meanwhile, Detective Ryu digs into the background of the past victim, Kang So-mong, and her family. He learns she had an older sister named Kang So-hae, who attended medical school in Germany and worked at a refugee camp in Thailand before reportedly dying in a car accident. Dong-hoon conducts his own research and discovers the horrific truth. Se-hoon had intoxicated, raped, and filmed So-mong. He confessed to the act, but his powerful family manipulated the situation to blame the girl. Se-hoon then sent the video to everyone So-mong knew, driving her to jump off a building, which was followed by her father taking his own life. Armed with this information, Dong-hoon confronts Mo-eun. He reads a testimony from the old case given by an unnamed colleague of So-mong, referred to as P, who claimed So-mong was an escort who made advances on Se-hoon. This testimony was crucial in clearing Se-hoon's name. Dong-hoon then brings up Mo-eun's irregular polygraph results and accuses her of lying about her identity. He deduces that Mo-eun is actually the sister, Kang So-hae, and that someone else died in the accident in Thailand. He also asserts that she did not kill Ki-dae. During this confrontation, Dong-hoon receives a call from Detective Ryu, stating that hair found at Se-hoon's crime scene matches on Yoon-soo. Despite this, Mo-eun insists to Dong-hoon that Yoon-soo did not kill Se-hoon. Elsewhere, reporter Hong receives an anonymous tip claiming there is a past connection between Ko Si-hoon and Mo-eun. Back at the prison, Mo-eun observes Hui-yong speaking to a young man during visitation hours. Later, Mo-eun confronts Hui-yong about her earlier comment that Se-hoon's parents deserved divine punishment. Connecting the dots, Mo-eun realizes that Hui-yong is P, the person who gave the false testimony. Enraged, Mo-eun attacks Hui-yong and attempts to choke her before guards pull her away. With the evidence mounting, Detective Ryu and Dong-hoon prepare to arrest Yoon-soo, their suspicions solidified by tracking her movements and learning about her previously broken ankle monitor. Yoon-soo returns home from the bakery only to be ambushed by Mr. Ko, who forces his way inside. He shows her a photograph sent by an anonymous source that places her at Se-hoon's house. Although he claims he wants to talk, he attacks her. Yoon-soo manages to escape, running to her car and driving off. Because it is past her curfew, her ankle monitor begins to alert the authorities, and she ignores Sundalk's calls. While fleeing, Yoon-soo sees a news report announcing that her hair was found at the scene of Se-hoon's death. Spotting police cars approaching, she speeds through traffic signals and stops at a convenience store where she uses a knife to cut off her tracking device. Back at the prison, Hui-yong receives medical attention while Mo-eun is placed in solitary confinement. Hui-yong notices a long black wire nearby and, while Officer Aom is distracted, steals it. As she is being escorted back to her cell, Hui-yong uses the wire to tie around her neck and jumps off the railing, hanging herself while Mo-eun watches helplessly from her cell. The flashback to the summer of 2019, where Mo-eun, whose real name is Kang So-hae, is working at a refugee camp in Thailand. After her shift, she video calls her sister, So-mong, and she introduces her to a new friend named Hui-yong. When the COVID-19 pandemic strikes, So-hae's workload increases drastically, causing her to miss a message from So-mong. Shortly after, So-hae falls ill herself and is placed in quarantine. When she finally wakes up, she discovers a flood of unread notifications on her phone. She watches the videos sent to her and reads the messages revealing the tragic deaths of her sister and father. Devastated and trapped by travel restrictions, she is physically restrained while trying to hurt herself, as her friend tries to help her recover from the shock. In the present, Huiyong attempts suicide in prison. Although the guards manage to save her, she suffers a severe leg injury involving a ruptured artery that the prison doctor is unable to treat. Desperate, Officer Eom allows Mo Yun to step in and perform emergency treatment. Once Huiyong is stabilized, Officer Eom is forced to transport her to the hospital, taking Mo Yun along since she performed the medical procedure. Meanwhile, police swarm Yun-Su's house. Dong-hun and his partner Mr. Huang realize that Yun-Su had been in a struggle with someone. They also discover the knife, camera, and clothes that Yun-Su used on the night she intended to kill Sehun. Dong-hun continues his investigation by searching Jong-gu's office. During the search, Jong-gu receives a call from Yun-Su, who asks him to get Mo Yun's help. Dong-hun overhears the conversation and realizes Yun-Su is nearby. A search begins, but Yun-Su manages to escape. Lawyer Young-in arrives at the hospital to speak with Mo Yun privately. With the truth about her identity now public, he asks why she hid it from him. He then relays Yun-Su's request for assistance. In response, Mo Yun simply tells him to inform Yun-Su that she is mistaken. Mo Yun then asks to freshen up in the shower. Inside the bathroom, she finds Yun-Su waiting for her, as Mo Yun had spotted her sneaking in earlier. Yun-Su asks who really killed Sehun. Mo Yun describes the photo she received but admits she has no idea who sent it. Yun-Su warns her to be safe before leaving the shower area. After exiting the shower, Mo Yun changes her plan and attempts to flee, leading the guards on a chase. While this distraction occurs, Yun-Su slips out of the building disguised in patient clothes. Officer Eom eventually tracks Mo Yun down and prepares to handcuff her, but is suddenly knocked unconscious by Mr. Ko. A fight breaks out between Mo Yun and Mr. Ko, ending with him stabbing her with a pair of scissors. The story cuts to an emergency call where a woman is heard begging for help and concludes with Yun-Su sneaking around the grounds of Mr. Ko's house. Mo Yun wakes up in the hospital recovering from the attack by Sehun's grandfather, Ko Dong-uk. By this time, the police have realized that Yun-Su was also present at the hospital during the incident. A special team comprising Dong-hun, Detective Ryu, and Bae Sun-dok is formed to track her down. Although the authorities are aware that Dong-uk attacked both women, they choose not to pursue charges against him at this time. Dong-hun uncovers an article about Kang So-hae and So-mang, written by reporter Hong. The reporter admits that he has been receiving anonymous tips regarding the case and suspects the informant has a personal connection to the events. Suddenly, the police receive an emergency call from Yun-Su's phone originating from Ko Dong-uk's house, in which she is heard pleading for help. Officers rush to the residence and search the premises, eventually finding her phone abandoned on the ground. Security footage reveals that Yun-Su arrived, drugged Dong-uk's dog to put it to sleep, and then departed. Dong-hun suspects someone tipped Dong-uk off about Yun-Su being a suspect and Mo Yun's location, but the old man denies everything. Detective Ryu spots a jacket at the scene belonging to Yun-Su, which they had previously seen Jong-gu wearing. Identifying it as merchandise from Jong-gu's boxing gym, the detectives head there. Inside the boxing ring, they discover a painting left by Yun-Su depicting Sehun's dead body. The painting shows the body exactly as it looked when he actually died, matching the image Mo Eun had seen. Jong-gu remains convinced of Yun-Su's innocence, but Dong-hun is more certain than ever that she is the killer. At that moment, both men receive photographs showing Yun-Su near Sehun's house, deepening the suspicion. Elsewhere, Dong-uk burns the physical photos of Yun-Su that were mailed to him. It is revealed that Yun-Su had stolen Dong-uk's phone, which contained these images, and used it to send the evidence to the police herself. Dong-uk, however, hides this detail from the detectives. Later, the forensic team restores data from Yun-Su's digital camera. Dong-hun finds the photos of Sehun faking his death for Yun-Su. He realizes these images do not match the autopsy report or the painting Yun-Su left at the gym. This discrepancy finally persuades Dong-hun to agree to Jong-gu's request to interview Mo Eun. They visit Mo Eun at the hospital, where she points out that the photo Yun-Su took differs from the state of the actual body. This conversation exposes that Dong-hoon was aware of this inconsistency but hid it from Jong-gu. Mo-yoon accuses the prosecutor of holding a bias against Yoon-soo. Detective Ryu then informs them that Yoon-soo was spotted at the university exhibition featuring her husband's art. Now doubting his own conclusions, Dong-hoon goes to the university to retrace her steps. He pauses in front of a painting titled Sokoboko, noting that it was donated by Jin Young-in and his wife. As he examines the art, Yoon-soo uploads a confession video online. She admits to killing her husband and making the deal with Mo-yoon, but adamantly denies killing Si-hoon. She accuses the prosecution of ignoring vital dashcam footage that proves a third party was involved. Dong-hoon realizes she is trying to send a hidden message. The lawyers and Dong-hoon return to the station, where Detective Ryu confirms they never received any dashcam footage, implying Yoon-soo is lying. Jong-gu senses that Dong-hoon knows more than he is letting on. Suddenly, Sun-duk receives news that Yoon-soo's daughter, Sop, has been kidnapped, with witnesses reporting that an old man took her. At the hospital, Officer Eom escorts Mo-eun to visit Hwae-young, who wants to thank her for saving her life. Hwae-young reveals that Se-hoon had been creating and selling deepfake pornography. She explains he hired an assistant to care for his cats, the same young man who visited her in prison. The assistant reportedly told Hwae-young that he witnessed Se-hoon's murder. Just as Mo-eun asks for the identity of Se-hoon's killer, the scene shifts to Jin Young-in at the police station, looking through Yoon-soo's drawings. Yoon-soo examines the photos of herself on Ko Dong-uk's phone, deducing that someone began panicking and tracking her as soon as she was released from prison. She visits the exhibition of her husband's work, where she notices a fresh fingerprint on the painting of her back. There, she encounters Jin Young-in, a law professor at the university who offers his assistance. However, a video playing at the exhibition shows Kaide and Young-in together, causing Yoon-soo to become suspicious and leave abruptly. On her way out, Yoon-soo passes Young-in's wife, who appears to recognize her. Yoon-soo suddenly imagines the wife as the hooded figure who has been stalking her. Later, at the boxing gym, she questions why Young-in never mentioned knowing her husband. She wonders if he killed Ki-dae and only took Mo-yoon's case to get closer to her. Returning to the exhibition, Yoon-soo is caught on the CCTV footage that Dong-hoon later reviews. She finds Seo-won and asks about Young-in. Seo-won confirms he is a law professor and recalls Ki-dae arguing on the phone about a plagiarized painting donated by a law professor, referring to the Sokoboako hanging in the university. Seo-won confirms Ki-dae was extremely stressed about this issue. After gathering this information, Yoon-soo records and uploads her confession video. Meanwhile, Young-in and his wife, Choi Soo-yeon, discuss how to handle Yoon-soo. Soo-yeon instructs her husband to check the evidence and locate the dashcam footage Yoon-soo mentioned in her video. Sometime later, while Yoon-soo is trailing Young-in, she receives a text from Ko Dong-uk claiming he has kidnapped Sop. He demands she meet him at a house with a blue door by 6 p.m. At the hospital, Mo-eun overhears news of Sop's kidnapping. She slices open her own wound and tells Hwae-young to claim she hurt Mo-eun in self-defense. Rushed to surgery, Mo-eun knocks out the anesthesiologist, steals medication, disguises herself as staff, and escapes. She stitches her wound in a taxi while fleeing. Meanwhile, Dong-hoon and Detective Ryu arrive at Dong-uk's house to find him gone, along with his gun. Dong-hoon shares his suspicions about Young-in with Jong-gu. Soon-deok reveals that Yoon-soo left a sketch of a woman on her car, asking for it to be included in evidence. Jong-gu identifies the woman in the sketch as Choi Soo-yeon. The group realizes Yoon-soo mentioned the non-existent dashcam footage to lure Young-in into a trap. They trace Dong-uk's car and race to the location. Yoon-soo arrives at a dilapidated house to find Dong-uk pointing a gun at her, with Sop sleeping in the next room. Dong-uk is convinced Yoon-soo killed Se-hoon, claiming he has a video of her stabbing him. A flashback reveals Young-in sent these photos and videos to Dong-uk. In the present, a noise distracts Dong-uk. It is Mo-yoon arriving. After firing his last bullet at her, Mo-yoon tackles him. Yoon-soo joins the fray, and the struggle sends all three tumbling off the first-floor balcony. Dong-uk is knocked unconscious, allowing the two women to escape with Sop. Dong-hoon and the police begin searching the area. Young-in, watching from a distance, leaves in frustration that Dong-uk failed to kill Yun-soo. Spotting Dong-hoon approaching, Yun-soo gives Sop a final hug and promises to return soon. She leaves her daughter with Dong-hoon and flees with Mo-eun. Pudgy helps them escape town, where they switch vehicles. In the car, Mo-eun reveals her true history to Yun-soo. A flashback shows So-hae finding a girl named Mo-eun in Thailand, suffering from a spider bite. After saving her, they became close friends in the refugee camp. When the real Mo-eun fell ill and was dying, she urged So-hae to take her identity to aid in her revenge. So-hae staged a car accident, burning the vehicle with her own passport inside, and adopted Mo-eun's name and watch. In the present, Yun-soo listens to the story and asks why Mo-eun is helping her, despite Yun-soo failing to keep her end of the deal. Mo-eun admits she doesn't fully understand why herself. They drive off together, with Yun-soo now resolved to find the evidence proving she did not kill her husband. The flashback to a few months prior, during a university celebration where Young-in introduces his wife, Soo-yeon, to the university director, Mr. Kim. Ki-dae and Seo-won join the group, and Ki-dae exposes that a painting donated by Young-in and his wife, created by an artist named Sokoboako, is actually plagiarized from an apprentice's work. This revelation sours the director's opinion of Young-in. Following the event, Young-in repeatedly attempts to contact Ki-dae, seeking an apology after the courts ruled that the artwork was not plagiarized, hoping to restore his reputation with the director. However, Ki-dae refuses to answer his calls or visits. Frustrated by the silence, Soo-yeon eventually decides to storm into Ki-dae's studio herself. In the present, Dong-hoon and his team investigate the house where the fight with Dong-uk occurred. They discover Dong-uk's phone and realize that Young-in was the one who sent the incriminating photos. Meanwhile, in the car, Mo-eun tells Yun-soo that she knows about Young-in and that he was the one sending the threatening text messages. She also explains that there was a witness, a boy hired to care for Se-hun's cats. A flashback reveals that Mo-eun tracked the boy down after leaving the hospital and demanded to know what he saw. The boy's phone was connected to a pet camera, which recorded the entire event, first showing Yun-soo attempting to kill Se-hun, followed by the arrival of the real killer, Young-in, dressed in a black coat, who finished the job. Mo-eun shows Yun-soo this full video. At the hospital, Dong-uk shows the detectives the partial video Young-in sent him, which only depicts Yun-soo attacking Se-hun. However, moments later, Dong-hoon and Jong-gu receive the complete footage from Yun-soo. Jong-gu calls Yun-soo to tell her they know Young-in is the culprit and suggests working together, but Yun-soo hangs up, insisting she has something to confirm first. She and Mo-eun head to Ki-dae's studio, where they find Young-in searching for the original print of Ki-dae's artwork that contains the incriminating fingerprint. Mo-eun hides while Young-in screams at Yun-soo for ruining their plans. A flashback reveals the couple's panic when Mo-eun originally confessed to the murder. They began stalking Yun-soo and taking photos of her, culminating in Young-in killing Se-hun and stealing the pet camera. Back in the studio, Mo-eun's phone rings, giving away her position. A struggle ensues, ending with Young-in holding Mo-eun hostage with a knife to her throat. He forces Yun-soo to pour etching fluid over the original print, destroying the evidence, and then orders Yun-soo to kill Mo-eun. Yun-soo refuses. Mo-eun finally answers Yun-soo's question about why she helped her, stating it is because Yun-soo has a life to return to. Mo-eun then grabs Young-in's hand and forces the knife into her own body. Dong-hoon and Jong-gu burst into the room just as Yun-soo rushes toward Young-in in a rage. Mo-eun pulls the knife out of herself and stabs Young-in, killing him. Yun-soo holds Mo-eun as she bleeds out, distraught, but Mo-eun passes away. The story shifts to the courtroom, where the full pet camera footage is presented. Jong-gu argues that Yun-soo was forced into the deal with Mo-eun under duress. The judge declares Yun-soo not guilty of Ki-dae's murder and gives her a suspended sentence for the remaining charges, allowing her to return home. It is revealed that a petition from Ko Dong-uk influenced the verdict. He admits that things might have been different if his grandson had been punished earlier, while Dong-hoon admits he was blinded by his obsession with Yoon-soo's guilt. Although Young-in died in the studio fight, the truth about the original murder is finally uncovered. Dong-hoon visits Soo-yeon and presents a test print of the artwork, revealing that the fingerprint on it matches hers. He asks about her watch, which matches the impression Yoon-soo saw in the studio, but she claims it is with her husband's ashes. She attempts to blame everything on Young-in, but a flashback reveals the truth. Soo-yeon killed Ki-dae in a fit of rage because he was rude to them. Young-in told her to leave, then poured the etching solution and switched the knives to cover up her crime. Soo-yeon is the hooded figure Yoon-soo saw leaving the scene. With evidence pointing to her as the true killer, Soo-yeon's fate is sealed. Later, Yoon-soo and Sop travel to Thailand. Sop is wearing Mo Yoon's watch. They visit the site where the refugee camp once stood and find the spot where Mo Yoon used to hang out with her friend. They hang the watch on a sign there as a tribute before walking away. The final scene flashes back to Ki-dae and Yoon-soo's wedding day, where So-hae and So-mung happen to pass by, and Yoon-soo waves to them.